Welcome, dear dreamers and stargazers. Today we're stepping into a world where nothing is quite what it seems. Where love is a game, time is a currency, and every choice can cost you everything. If you haven't guessed it already, we're talking about the magical mysteries and unforgettable Caraval trilogy. If you want to hear more, step right up. The show's just beginning and it's about to get divine.
Hello and welcome back to It's Reading Time Somewhere. My name is Carolina and I'm your host. I'm going to start with a little bit of a disclaimer. I am not English, I am Portuguese, so in case I see something wrong, which might happen a lot, I am so sorry. And in case you haven't guessed it, today I'm going to be talking about the Caraval trilogy. Caraval is probably one of those books that I've always said I was never going to read it, but end up loving it. Basically, one day I was dumb scrolling on TikTok and appeared me this video of the vibes of Caraval with the Melanie Martinez carousel music. And I was like, oh my god, this sounds amazing. I should give it on a try. And I am not usually influenced by TikTok, but I don't know who made that TikTok. I don't remember it. But thank you. You made me want to read one of my favorite books of the year. And Caraval is composed by 4 books, but 3 are the main books, and 1 is a Christmas special. We have Caraval, Legendary, Final, and then we have Spectacle, which is a Christmas special. Basically, Caraval has a lot of these romantic, circus, game, and Venice vibes. Personally, I think it has a lot of Venice vibes because of the canals and the water and the boats. That brings me a lot to Venice. And we also have other books, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart. And thank God I didn't decide to read Once Upon a Broken Heart first, because it was on my TBR before Caraval. At the time, I didn't know that Once Upon a Broken Heart was in the same world set as Caraval. And then when I found out, I was like, oh my god, thank God I didn't read it first, because it's going to ruin my experience. You don't have to read Caraval to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, but if you want to know a little bit about the Jax that appears in Once Upon a Broken Heart, and wants a little bit more about the world, you should read Caraval first. But you don't have to. It's okay, you can read them separately. But if you want to know a little bit about more of the world that they are in, what are fates and things like that, Caraval explains that very well. So it's okay if you don't want to, but you should if you want to. And that's only that I'm going to say. So in this podcast, I'm going to divide him in some parts where I'm going to start talking about what is Caraval. I'm going to talk about the characters. For me, the personally main characters that appear in the books, the characters that are important to talk about. There's a lot of characters in this book because there's a lot of people and performers in Caraval that are going to appear, but I'm not going to cover them all up, or I'm not going to live here, and I'm going to give a lot of spoilers. And then I'm going to be trying to talk a little bit about the books and try not to give spoilers, because that's the magic of Caraval. It's seeing everything and not be given spoilers, because you have to feel it. You have to also be in a game and play the game in your mind to try to find what is going to happen, who is these people, what are the people. That's the magic of Caraval. And lastly, I'm going to give like a little of Q&A, like would I play Caraval? Would I want to join? Things like that, like answering these more open-minded and honest questions. And the final, I'm going to wrap up the things, and I'm going to also to give you guys what I'm reading at the moment. So to start with this, what is Caraval? I also want to say first, the books are written in the third person. But the 3 books are in different point of views, but the books are mainly written in third person, because the books, in case you didn't know what Caraval is, I'm going to explain it after this, but it's for you to feel the game, for you to be in the game, and for you to feel also like a character in the books, and to also learn more, and to try to find out like the clues. I think that's a very well written books. I think I enjoyed so much the writing of Stephanie Garber. So it's amazing. And now starting, what is Caraval? Caraval is not just a game. It's held once a year and in different mysterious locations. It's once a year immersive experience where magic blends into reality. You can only enter Caraval if you have an invitation. So if you don't have an invitation, you cannot play the game. Audience members can become players, performers can become players, and the game is a part of a performance, a part of a challenge, and a part of an emotional maze, where illusions are going to test your mind, and one wrong move, one wrong choice can cost you everything. Players often lose the track of what's real and also lose track of the time, because the time in Caraval is different from the time in the real world. Basically, 1 hour in Caraval is like 3 hours in the real world. So players often lose time of track, and often they like, you should do your choices quick because you are running out of time. So, and they also play at night and not in the day. And some players also get a little bit mad because the rules are unclear and the stakes feel personal and nothing is ever what it seems. And so the players start getting a little bit crazy during the game, and that's exactly what the master of Caraval wants. So basically Caraval is it's very about desire, sacrifice, and this illusion. And I think that describes what Caraval is. So now talking a little bit about the characters, I decided to talk about those, for me personally, more main characters, the characters that appear, rather than telling all the characters, because there's a lot of characters in the books, but I don't want to spoil it out, so I'm going to say like the main characters that appears in the books, at least in the first book. So the book starts with two sisters, an older sister and a little sister. The older sister is Scarlet Dragna, and the little sister is Donatella, also known as Stella Dragna. Scarlet is basically that personification of what the older sister is. She is a very practical and protective and emotional reserved person. She was raised in fear. They were raised in this small island where their abused father ruled, and she learned to value more safety over risk, so she wants to prefer safety options other than risking things. In the beginning of the series, I see a lot of this protective mother bear Scarlet trying to protect Stella at all costs, even from her own choices. And in their book, we see a lot about her learning to live for herself, Scarlet trying to trust her instincts and be more open-minded and open up her heart to start trusting other people and not be this secure person. And we also see a lot about in her book, like she's thinking, what would Donatella do? But I think that's the one part where she says, what would I do? And not what Donatella I do, because I am my own person. And we also see in her book her development of her relationship with Julian. And then we have Donatella Scarlet, and she's basically the personification also of little brothers and sisters. I'm a little sister, so this is me. She's more bold and impulsive and a very deeply romantic person. She wants to find her one true love, and she appears to be carefree, but she hides a lot of emotional scares. Their mother also lived in that island, but one day she decided to disappear, and without saying anything, without giving a word. So Donatella was the one who felt more about her mother leaving. Scarlet, she also felt it, but didn't felt in a way that Donatella felt it. So in the book that is the point of view of Donatella, we see a lot of those emotional scars. And where Scarlet avoids risking things, Donatella chases it, and she's willing to make these dangerous risks, these dangerous deals, just to gain control over her future. So a story is more about independence, faith, and self-worth, and we also see a lot about her inner strength and her vulnerability and these emotional scars. Then we have Julian. Julian is a very flirtatious and confident and full of secrets. He appears before Caraval begins, and he is the character who challenges Scarlet to be out of this sense of control be out of this idea that she has to be very protective and has to be like very strict to things. So basically he wants to slowly open up her mind and slowly starts gaining her trust. And then we have Legend. Legend is the master of Caraval. Everyone knows who he is, but no one knows who he really is. And he creates illusions and he controls the rules and watches the players start playing the game of Caraval in the shadows. And he symbolizes this tension and between illusion and what really is. And he's definitely the personification of the cost of power. And then we have the Donatello and Tella's father, which is Governor Dragna. We see a lot in the first book that he's a very cruel and manipulative and violent person, especially towards Tella, because Tella, like I said, she has this more bold and impulsive way of being, and so he's more hard and cruel toward her, and Scarlet tries to protect her from those things. So he controls a lot of his daughters through fears, threats, and emotional punishment. And his presence haunts their choices, and they long so much to leave that island. So I'm going to explain that a little bit afterwards. So, and then we have Jax. Like I said in the beginning, Once Upon a Broken Heart, where he appears the most. You also, if in case you have read Once Upon a Broken Heart before, you're also going to know that he's one of the main characters in the Once Upon a Broken Heart. He's also known as the Prince of Hearts. He's a fate, and he's also the former heir to the Meridian Empire. And his reputation as a fate is that he is quite a charmer and also a heartbreaker. His curse has a fate, like all the fates have curses, and his curse is basically a fatal kiss. Every girl he kisses is going to die. So it's a very sad story, and he's also very possessive and obsessive, so he gets everything that he wants. So be careful if you find a Jax walking on the street. And then we have some side characters. I'm going to saying that there are some side characters, even though they're also very important in the Caraval world, which are these two are performers at Caraval. We have Aiko and Jovan. Aiko, she's a historiographer of Caraval. She appears also in the first book, and she's known to be helpful to other characters. But be careful, because her help can come with a very formidable. No, her help can come with very bad cost. It can cost you a lot, and that is shown. And then we have Jovan. I think that she is known for riding her unicycle. She loves her unicycle. And she's also a performer at Caraval. And she's a very friendly, bright, and cheerful person. But she's also a very mysterious. So I think these are the characters. For me personally, are these main characters that appear in the books that I think I should be talking about. So now I'm going to be talking about the books without trying to give any spoilers, because I don't want to ruin anyone's experience. So we have the four books. The first book is Caraval. It shows us the Scarlet's point of view. The second one is Legendary. It shows us the Tella's point of view. The third book is Final, with both of the sisters' point of view. Then we have the Christmas Special, which is Spectacular, which has the Donatella's and Scarlet's point of view also. So the first book we start seeing. I'm going to give a disclaimer. Scarlet, she's engaged to this man she's never met in her life. She only know him by letters and exchanging letters with him, so she never see him because they are 1 week away of the wedding, and she's only going to see him on the day of their wedding. And yeah, and they are also scared of leaving the island because of their abusive father, and because he wouldn't let them go. And his fiancé promised her, because his fiancé is from a continent, and he promised that when he marries to Scarlet, he's going to bring her to his state and also let Scarlet bring her sister with her so they can escape the island at all costs. So in the beginning of the book, we see that Stella in her impulsive and bold personality, where she's with this boy, and Scarlet starts with her mother bear personality and shows her traits where she's trying to protect Stella because her father is going, then finds out that Stella is with a boy and she can't be with a boy. But yeah, we have a way of why that boy is there. And Scarlet just has like 3 tickets to Caraval, and I think she tells Stella. The 3 tickets are for Scarlet, 1 for Stella, and 1 for Scarlet's fiance. But Stella is like, no, we can't go to Caraval because we are not going to arrive on time. My wedding is 1 week away, and whenever Caraval finish, it's going to be late, and we can. So Stella, no, we can go to Caraval only for 3 days, and we can leave before it ends, so we can arrive on time on our wedding. But Scarlett's like, she's not getting. She's not getting convinced, so it's like, no, they're not going to. But so Stella and the other boy, which is Julian, they don't get Scarlet a choice, so they just like bring her and they hit Scarlet, and Scarlet then wakes up in this boat where Julian is trying to bring them to the coast, and Scarlet wakes up and is like, what is Donatello, what you did to my sister? And Julian like, keep calm, she's on the coast, she's waiting for us. But then the boat starts drowning, and then Julian says, oh, we have to jump. But Scarlet's like, no, I don't. But then Julian jumps, and then Scarlet, she doesn't have any other opportunity thing other than jump to the water. And when she jumps, she starts drowning because her clothes are too heavy. And Julian notices, and she just dives into the water and cuts her corset and just brings her to the surface. But when they arrive at the beach, Scarlet noticed that Donatello is not there. This is when everything starts. When Scarlet enters the game to find her sister, because probably Master Caraval stole her sister away in a game. And that's when everything started, and I'm going to finish here, because this is the first part of the book, when we start seeing when they start entering the game, when they start playing, and we start seeing this mystery and this game and this tension where Scarlet starts seeing herself and being opening her heart, and a lot of things happen here. And then we have the second book, which is Legendary. And Legendary, like I said, talks about the point of view of Stella. This shifts a little bit of narrator, and we see a little bit why Donatella is the way she is. And we see a lot about her internal dilemma, her internal chaos, basically, and why she's like that. And I think the themes of this book is probably like identity, prophecy, and very emotional risks. I'm going to spoilers. Okay, so in the third book we have Finale, which is the both of sisters' point of view. And there's a lot of romantic tension and magical consequences and very emotional payoffs where we see like it's a very romantic book, I'm going to say it like that. And there's also this thing of fates that appear in the second book that continues to the third book, and it's like the conclusion of the fates in the third book. So this book explores a lot of grief and sacrifice and healing, and the most important thing is what's real and what's the matter most. I think this is the main theme of the third book. And then we have this Christmas special, which is spectacular. This is like a very family cozy Christmas, where it's I think that in the books there's like this thing of Christmas that is called solstice. I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry. Where they are preparing this and they have Christmas, and I think this book for me it had like a way of saying that I didn't thought I was ever going to read it because it was so weird, and I didn't thought that the writer was going to be reading that, because the 3 books of Caraval I was not expecting that spectacular was like that, but I enjoy it. It's a smaller book than the others. You can read it in an afternoon, but if you want to feel those Christmas vibes, those Christmas spirits, you should read Spectacular. It's a very amazing book, and it also left me with a one question, because there appears in the first book appears something, and then you don't get answered like what happened to that boy. I think I can spoil up this, but because this isn't a part of the story, but basically in the first book of Spectacular, it appears like a boy, she's entering this cookie house of a witch, and then he disappears, and then throughout the book we don't hear anything about this boy. So that left me very like, what happened to the boy? What happened after he entered the house of this witch? The book didn't answer that, and that's the only part of me that was like, but I really enjoyed the book and the 3 books. So I'm sorry if this sounds very resume, very short, but I don't want to spoil it out. Caraval is one life experience, and you guys should read it at your own pace, at your free will, because it's amazing. These 3 books are amazing, and it's a game, and while reading it, you are going to feel it, or you are into the game. And I really don't want to ruin the experience, because I ruined my experience, and I want no one to ruin their experience, because you don't deserve it. So give it on a try, and you guys should really read it. And now going into this part where I'm going to answer this Q&A about some funny things to be more dynamic. So I'm going to start with, would I survive Caraval? I think as an ADHD person, someone with ADHD, I think I was never going to win Caraval. I was going to be so distracted with stuff that I was never going to be like... I know that I'm a very competitive person, but I was going to get lost, and I was never going... And even though if it was at the moment, I was going to think that like, oh my god, that's a cool, but it wasn't a cool. I think that would happen a lot. And which fate would I fear or be friends with? That's a very tricky question, because imagine, we see a lot of fights in the 3 books. And we see a lot of good fights that also have very good intentions. But before reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, I didn't like Jax. I'm going to speak about only the only fate that I've said in the characters. But I think in Caraval, I would fear Jax, because of the fact that if he kisses you, you are going to die. But I think after, when he met Evangeline in Once Upon a Broken Heart, I would try to be friendly with him, but he's not like that good person around other people. He's only good if you are like good to him, but he's not a good person. He's only good to Evangeline. Which sister's arc did you connect with more? Personally, I think I enjoyed more at first the Scarlet story when I was reading the first book, because it's in front of you. And then when I was finishing reading Caraval, I was like, oh my god, I have to read Donatella's point of view now, and I don't want to read it. And at the time I didn't like Donatella, because in the first book she appears to be like more a childish, basically her traits. She's a childish, very self-centered person. I didn't want to read it, but then when I read her book, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get why she's like this. I think that I think most of the people don't want to read the second book because it's Stella and they don't like Stella. I think I got it too, but thank God I decided to read it, because I get a little bit more about who Stella is. But I think that in order of the books that I like the most, I did enjoy Stella's story, but I think the first book wins, because the first book is always going to be the magical book. And sometimes I get very tired about the world building of some books. And I didn't get tired. I was deeply connected and deeply submitted into the book. So I'm going to say Scarlet. And now, what quote that still haunts me? Like I did in the beginning of this episode, I think it's probably when Julian and Scarlett was entering the Caraval game is when Jovan was saying, "Welcome, welcome to Caraval, the grandest show on land or by sea." And I think that still haunts me. And I love it. And I think that's probably one of the known quotes of Caraval. But that shows what Caraval is. And I think that's an amazing quote. And it's a very... it stays in your mind. And secondly, if Caraval was real, would I play it? I think for the funny part, I would, but I don't know. It's only because like I said in the beginning, I was going to be tricked all the time. I don't think that was going to win, but it sounds fun if it was real. I think I would try to enjoy it. But since it's only an invitation, it's an invitation only to enter the game. I think I wouldn't ever going to get an invitation because there's a lot of people around the world. I don't think that Master Caraval would want me to play or know who am I and to be able to play the game. I think that's the only way. And I'm going to leave you with a question. And if Caraval was real, would you guys want to play Caraval? I'm going to finish with that. And now I'm going to say a little bit about the book that I'm reading at the moment, just to wrap up this episode. So currently I'm reading A Court of Silver Flames. I think that's the name of the book. I think I got it wrong probably. But it's the last book, before the Sarah J. Maas says that she's going to launch one more probably, from Akhtar. And I'm going to also probably do some Akhtar books reviews on the next episodes because I want to do it still is fresh and on my mind so I don't forget anything. But I didn't like the first book, so I was very dragged into the story, but then I started enjoying it, and now I'm reading but I'm going to be honest, I'm not reading that much The Court of Silver Flames because I don't like that much Nesta, and I like Cashin, but I don't like Nesta. I loved Ferry and Rayson. That's why it's so difficult for me to read the Court of Silver Flames. But yeah, this is basically what I'm reading at the moment, and also left you with a question. And you, what are you reading at the moment? And now for wrap up this episode, I hope you guys loved and liked and enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for listening till here in case you are still listening. And comment if you have any questions of what do you want to see in other episodes. And don't forget to follow me on Spotify and subscribe me on YouTube podcast. And remember, it's always reading time somewhere. Bye.